Hello everyone, myself Mohammad Ramis and I welcome you all on behalf of Saraswat International Academy. Today in this session, we are going to discuss the part 7 of chapter number 5, that is poverty. So students, in the previous session we have discussed about causes of poverty. In that we have learned about the historical reason, how the Britisher have came and they have started ruling on us, and by that they have ruined our agriculture sector, industry sector and trade of Indian country. Then this was the first historical reason was the first. Second is this one, causes of rural poverty. In that we have seen natural cause and demographic factor. Demographic factor is about the population increase and unemployment increase because the number of the employment opportunities is less and the population and the supply of labor is more. Then we have seen the third, that is economic factor. In that we have discussed about low agriculture productivity per labor and unequal distribution of land and property because of the zamindari system, land tenancy system. Now in today's session we are going to learn the ahead part of causes of poverty. So students, as you know that we are discussing the economic factor of causes of poverty. In that we are going to learn the third point, that is minimal development of small scale and cottage industry. Okay students, you have to know this that there are two kind of industry, capital intensive industry and labor intensive industry. Capital intensive industries are such industries which do their production by using the machinery, okay, and labor intensive industries are the industries which uses the labor for doing the production. So labor intensive industries create the employment opportunities in our country, and here the small scale and cottage industries are such industries which uses the labor for doing the production. So small scale and cottage industries provide more employment opportunities, but development of such industries was less. Now let's discuss this point in detail. In India, the second 5-year plan onwards. Second 5-year plan means 1956. Okay, a strategy for economic development. A strategy means a plan was formed for the economic development. What Indian economists have planned for the development of country, they have planned that heavy and basic industries should given more importance. Okay, Indian economics have planned that for the development of the country they will focus on development of heavy and basic industry. Heavy and basic industries are, for example, iron and steel industry. Okay, but in rural area, but in village area, small scale and cottage industries which have great contribution in employment, production and income were neglected. So here it is said that in the second 5-year plan, that is from 1956, small scale industries and cottage industry which give contribution more in the employment generation, production and income, but these industries were neglected by the government. Moreover, agricultural and allied activities like animal husbandry, dairy farming, fishery, poultry farming, these were growing slowly and this increased the seasonal unemployment. So students, we know that Indian maximum people are living in rural area and they depend on these agricultural and allied activities, and this sector is growing slowly. Okay, and there increase a seasonal unemployment because a farmer will work for 6 or 8 months in a farm and rest of the 4 months, okay, he have to remain unemployed because there was no small scale and cottage industries, and that is the reason of what high increase of poverty. Now we are going to discuss the fourth point of economic factor of causes of poverty, that is rapid increase in price. How the increase in price affects the poverty, that we will discuss. Price rise seriously affects the poverty. Increase in the prices of the goods and services in the country affects the what? Affects the poverty adversely. Because of war, drought low national production, rapid increase in demand, increase in production cost, price of goods and service as well as edible good price rise rapidly. Pay attention over here because of the different reasons such as war, drought. If there is a drought, obviously the agriculture sector will affect and there will be a decrease in the what agriculture production, and the prices of the good will increase because of the scarcity. Then low national production, then rapid increase in demand. The people demand of the goods and services increasing, but comparatively the supply is not there, so there is a scarcity and the price increases. You can learn this with the example of petrol also. The demand is much high, but supply of the petrol is not that much, so price rise. Increase in production cost. If the production cost increases, जो चीज़ें बना रहे थे वो उसका प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट ही बढ़ जाएगा, then the obviously price will increase. Then price of goods and service as well as the edible goods price rise rapidly. This reduces the purchasing power of low income group. Okay, the family who is earning around 5,000, 7,000, and they are fulfilling their basic necessity of life, and in the economy the price of the goods and services increased. Okay, so now this family in the 7,000 will not able to fulfill their basic needs. Okay, it reduces the standard of living, then they have to compromise on the goods and services which they are consuming. Then it increases the what poverty. On the other hand, increasing price benefit the businessman, trader and big farmer. This increases what unequal distribution of income, that is rich become more rich, and it affects the what society. Now the next point, that is high rate of unemployment. In India, major part of rural India is dependent on agriculture. So here it is said that maximum population of the rural area, village area depends on what? Depends on agriculture for the purpose of earning. But agriculture is dependent on what? Agriculture is dependent on monsoon. Hence only one crop in a year is cultivated, so there exists seasonal unemployment. Please pay attention here. Here it is said that agriculture is dependent on the monsoon season, and by using, if the rain is there, then by using that water they can grow one crop in a year, and rest of the time they have to remain unemployed. That is called seasonal unemployed. If there is a facility of irrigation, then they can do the growing of crops for more than 2 times. Okay, but they don't have such facility of water, then for half of the year they work and half of the time they have to remain unemployed, and that is known as seasonal unemployed. High increase in population and joint family system also increases the burden on agriculture and result in disguised unemployment. So here it is said that one family is there, in that family suppose 5 member, and after the 2-3 years, okay, the family land they are having, that is not going to increase, but number of the persons in that family are going to increase. So suppose from 5 member they increase to 8, 9. Okay, so they all will work on the same farm. Okay, if these people are going at other place, then the family earning can increase. From 5, the next 4 people will go to the other place for earning, then the family income will increase. But here it is said that in village area all family members are doing the work in a same farm, so the farm production is not going to increase. Like if 5 people are working in a farm and the land will give the 100 kg of wheat, and if the 9 people will work, then too the land is capable of giving the 100 kg only. Okay, so that is called disguised unemployment. That additional 4 number, like 5 people are working 100 kg production and 9 people are working then 200 kg production, so that rest of the 4 members of the family, their productivity is 0, and that is the concept of what? Disguised unemployment. In rural India, lack of development of allied industries are responsible for high illiteracy and low mobility of labor, high rate of unemployment and poverty. Students, Now we are going to learn the social reasons of causes of poverty. In that first, that is low level of education. One of the major reasons of poverty in India is scarcity of education, training and skills. So here it is said that one of the major reason of poverty in India is lack of education among the population of the country, and training and skills are less. Low level of education, especially in where? Especially in village area, rural area, prevents them from gaining from the use of new technologies in agriculture. As the people who are living in a rural area, they are less educated, then they are not aware of the new technology for using in agriculture, and because of that, what, the production cannot increase, and they are not even aware of the new agriculture system, research and benefit of market for sale of the product. If the farmers are educated, then they will be aware of this new technology, new agriculture system, irrigation system, fertilizers. But the farmers are less literate, or you can say illiterate, so they are not aware of all this modern terms of agriculture. As a result, both per hectare productivity and per labor productivity in agriculture remains low. This is the reason of low income of farmer. So this is the reason. Here we discuss the reasons of low income of farmer because of the lack of education. Apart from this, because of low level of education, they get less opportunities in alternative employment. So here it is said that apart from this, because of the low level education, they are not able to get the employment in some other job. Okay, if they are educated, then in some months of the year they can work in the farm, and other time they can do some other job, but they are less educated, low level of education is there, so they don't get the other employment opportunities. Wage level remains low and poverty increases. Now, the second point in the social reason, that is gender inequality. Gender inequality about the male and female. Okay, India has gender inequality from the beginning. From the very starting, India is doing the what? Gender inequality. There is no proper importance given. There is no proper equality given to male and female. Society care less about health of the females. Indian society is such that they care less about the what? About the females. And because of that reason, women face higher level of malnourishment, low weight and weakness. And this causes the high maternal mortality during the childbirth and health problems among the newborn children. Pay attention once again. Indian society care less about the health of female, and because of that reason the women face the higher level of malnourishment, low weight and weakness. And due to all this, maternal mortality rate during the childbirth increases, and the children born that suffer from the diseases or health issues. Work allocation is such that it is believed as compulsory for women to work at home. So this is the mentality of the India. In our country it is such that females are there, then they have to work compulsory at home, resulting in low level of education and less economic opportunities to work. So in our system, the mentality is such that the female have to work at home, they should learn the cooking skills. Okay, so they don't focus on the education of the female, and that result in low level of education in female. And because of low level of education, the female get less employment opportunities. Apart from this, at workplace, female are paid less than male. This is a very important thing. Okay, in our country, Equal Remuneration Act is there, and according to the act, that male and female both who are doing the same work at same time at same place, okay, then they should get the equal payment. But in our country the male are getting the more wage, the more salary comparatively to female for the same work, and this is impartiality. Out of the total population, less than half are women. Okay, if you calculate the total population of the country, so half of the population is what? Half of the population is female. Amongst them, low health level and less opportunities to work in economic field keeps family income low, and this increases the level of poverty. So here it is said that half of the population are what? Are female. And Indian society is taking less care about the what? About the health of female. So they have the low health level, and the education among the female is also less. Now the scenario is changing, but still maximum population is living in rural area, and there the same scenario is there. The importance to the education of girl is less. So because of that reason there is a less opportunities to work in economic field for female. So here it conclude that half of the population, that is female, so from that maximum are not going to job, and this results to what? Low family income, and it lead to what? It lead to increase the level of poverty. Now we are going to discuss the other reasons of poverty. In that, the first is war. After the independence, India fought two wars with neighboring countries, one with Pakistan and other is with China. During the war, the limited resource of the country spent on what? Spent on production and import of what? Require arms and ammunition. So here it is said that as because of the reason of the war with Pakistan and China, our country have to use the limited resource on purchasing and doing the production of arms and ammunition. This reduces the production of basic goods and service. So as now we are using our resources on arms and ammunition, the country is not able to focus on production of goods and service. During the war, to avoid the scarcity of certain goods in future, people store what? People do store the food grain, clothes, fuel, etc. As a result, price increase rapidly. You have to understand this. Look, the people, to avoid the scarcity of the what? Of the food grain, cloth and fuel, they do store the more proportion, the more amount of goods, okay, and because of that reason the scarcity is created in the market, and as the scarcity is created the price rise. Because of war, the process of economic development slows down, and because of the war the economic development process slows down. Due to several wars in India, developmental expenditure is reduced, economic development remain low, and problem of price rise taken place, hence poverty increase. So here it is said that because of the several wars, the developmental expenditure reduced. We have studied in the 11th standard that what is developmental expenditure. The expenditure done by our government for making the dam, okay, or for generating the electricity, or any other productive activity which will lead for the development of the nation, that is developmental expenditure. So the resources of the country, the money the government is having, is not able to use in a developmental expenditure. Economic development remains low of the country, and problem of price rise is there, and hence poverty increase. In other reasons, the second one is increase in defense expenditure. Several wars made the issue of security very serious, okay. Because of the wars, the government is now focusing on what? On the security issues. To make the security system stronger, to make our Indian security system stronger, expenses on modern missiles, fighter planes, tanks and submarines have increased. So government is doing the expenditure on the arms and ammunition. They are focusing on buying and doing the production of missiles, fighter planes, tanks and submarines. In present era, the to fight against terrorism, a lot of special facilities have increased expenditure on defense. And in the present era, to fight against the terrorism, government is doing the expenditure more on what? More on defense. The expenditure on security is non-development in nature. The expenditure done on the security is not developmental expenditure. Okay, it is not going to help in the productivity of the country, and any increase in such expenditure reduces the expenditure on economic development. Pay attention here. When the government is doing the expenditure on defense, it is not going to increase the economic development of the country. Okay, economic development slows down and level of poverty increases. Now the last reason, that is defective policies. For rapid economic development, for the fast economic development of the country, the second 5-year plan onwards, basic and heavy industry were given priority, and through rapid industrialization, high economic growth was to be achieved, and thus policy of removal of poverty and unemployment was adopted. Pay attention here, this we have discussed in today's session itself, that from the second 5-year plan, that is 1956, government have focused on development of basic and heavy industry, and because of that reason the poverty and unemployment have increased, because maximum population is working on what? On the base of cottage and small scale industry, and they have to remain unemployed and they become poor. But this policy neglected the vast population dependent on agriculture. So here it is the same thing, that as government focus on the basic and heavy industry, government ignore the agriculture sector. Agriculture and small scale cottage industry, which gives the employment and income to the majority of the population, develop slowly. So here it is said that agriculture and the small scale and cottage industry, which gives the employment to the maximum population of the country, and this industries and agriculture sector developed slowly, and so was the income of poor people, and because of that reason the income of the poor people does not rise. Apart from this, various schemes were introduced during the planning. Apart from this, the different schemes have made by the government, by the planning commission, to reduce the poverty and unemployment. But due to frequent changes in the ruling government, but what happens, the ruling government change in every 5 years, and they lack continuity and coordination. So whatever the government, past government have started the project, that is not maintained in continuity. Okay, and that schemes get disrupted, and continuity in that schemes for removal of poverty and unemployment does not happen. As a result, the targeted poverty reduction could not be achieved through this scheme, and because of this reason, that the scheme which was made for removal of poverty and unemployment is not in continuity, because the ruling government changes, then as a result the poverty does not decrease, and the scheme's result, fruitful result, is not seen. So here we complete all the reasons about the causes of poverty.